हेलो एंड अस्सलाम वालेकुम एवरीवन। कैसे हैं आप सब? ठीक ठाक हैं? घर में सब खुशबाश हैं? वेल दैट्स रियली गुड टू नो। सो सबसे पहले तो अगर तो आपने इस चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया, सब्सक्राइब करें, लाइक करें, शेयर करें एंड वेलकम टू अ न्यू व्लॉग वंस अगेन। सो आज के व्लॉग में हम बात क्या करेंगे? आज के व्लॉग में हम लोग ये डिस्कस करेंगे, आपसे इंफॉर्मेशन शेयर करेंगे कि व्हाट इज़ द प्रोसेस टू अप्लाई फॉर स्टूडेंट वीज़ा टू कम टू द यूके। उसकी डॉक्यूमेंट रिक्वायरमेंट्स क्या हैं, व्हेन यू कैन अप्लाई फॉर इट, हाउ सूनर you can apply before your course even starts, what is the cost involved in it. There are different type of cost involved in it, whether that is your fee, your IHS surcharge and stuff, how sooner you can apply for it, what is the visa timelines in terms of processing and stuff, and whether you can apply within the UK or outside the UK. So all those type of questions would be answered. So without any delay, let's get into this. So very first requirement in order to apply for a student visa is that you need to be 16 years of age and over. So if you're 16, 17 or 18 years of age, you need 16 or 17, sorry, pardon me, not 18. You need to get permission from your parents or your guardian in order to apply for a student visa, that they are happy to do so. And the one that you normally apply for is a child student visa. So that is if you're age of 16 and 17. However, if you're over 18, then you can apply for general student visa. The requirements, first of all, the first main few things are that you need to be 16 years old or above if you need to apply for student visa, whether you're inside the UK or outside. First thing is, if you're 16 or 17, you can apply for a child student visa. So, but for that, you need to have written consent from your parents or guardian that they are willing for you to study in the UK. So that is mandatory. But if you're above 18 or 18 and over, then you can apply for general student visa, which is a tier 4 Q visa category. So you can apply for that. Now, the main things are that the institution that would sponsor you, they need to be part of the licensed institutions that are allowed. So they can only sponsor you for student visa. They will give you a cash letter. Now the list of those institutions, I will put that into the description. So if you want to check that out, make sure you apply for those particular institutions. Otherwise, there would be a bit of a risk chance of your visa application being declined if it's not part of that list. Secondly, you need to know obviously the English language itself, whether it's reading, writing, listening, or speaking itself. So whether you're doing IELTS exams or any other, there are some rare institutions, I believe, that I've come across which do not require that, but majority it's always best to apply for it. But how much score you need in IELTS or any other English level would depend on your institution itself. So it could be overall 6, individual bands could be 6.5, 5 or something overall score, but it really needs to be dependent on the institution itself. So you need to check out with your institute, your university that you're applying for. One of the other main requirements is that you should be able to financially support yourself. Now, what that means is you need to manage your university cost, so how long your course is. So normally if it's for longer term, you have to show it for the first year. So let's say if you're applying for a graduate or a PhD degree, you need to at least show that you have the amount for the first year. That is the main requirement. That's the course fee itself, but then secondly, you need to basically also show that you can maintain the living expenses. Now those depends on if you're applying inside the London or you're applying outside London. So the both are different. So if you're applying for an institute outside London, it would vary. If you're applying from inside, that would be different. So I'll come on to that and I'll tell you what are those requirements. Let's come to the second point as how soon you can apply. आप कितना टाइम पहले आप अप्लाई कर सकते हैं अपने कोर्स स्टार्ट डेट से पहले. So the timelines are dependent on if you're applying inside the UK or outside the UK. So if you're applying from outside the UK, you can apply up to 6 months before from the start of your course date. So let's say if your course is starting in January or February, then you can move back 6 months and you can apply for that time. Normally, if you're applying from outside the UK, the processing time is about 3 weeks on average. If you're applying from inside the UK, the earliest you can apply is 3 months before the course start date. And but the processing time inside, they normally stay on their website, it's a bit longer. It can take up to 8 weeks for processing the application. But just bear in mind that if you're applying from inside the UK, there should be minimal 28 days visa left on your current visa category before you can even apply for the visa extension or move on to student visa. So that is another thing to keep in mind. You might be wondering, how long can you stay in the UK for? Now, this particularly depends on how long your course is that you're applying for. So let's say if you're applying from for an undergraduate degree that is normally 3 years over here, then you can stay for 3 years. Depends on the length of visa that they grant you, depending on that length of the course itself. If you're applying for 1 year master degree, it would be 1 year visa given. Before they used to give like 1 year and 4 months because there was some project work involved at the end of the master's degree itself. But now what I've heard is that they only give you for the exact time 1 year itself. But there are longer length visas as well, like the PhD degree. I actually personally sponsored my wife to do her PhD degree. She was an international student as well, so they gave her a visa of, I think that was 4.5 years at that particular time, because her course could delay easily to from 4 to 5 years period. So it was roughly given for 4.5 years visa. So yeah, that is it really totally depends on how long your course is. So just bear that in mind. But the maximum time you can stay is, for a degree level course, you can go up till 5 years. But if you're doing a non-degree course, then you can maximum stay in the UK for 2 years. But obviously with the introduction of post-study work visa, after your degree, you can apply for 2 years post-study work. What that means is, once your course is completed, you can apply for PSW, and that PSW visa will last for 2 years. So within that time, you can apply for jobs, get professional experience and stuff. And you never know, if you want to stay further in the UK after that as well, you can maybe apply for work permits. And what that means is, you can ask a licensed sponsor who might give you a job, and they are sponsoring you to move on to a work permit category. So once you can move on to that, stay 5 years on that, you can easily apply for indefinite leave to remain after that, which is obviously leading to British nationality. A lot of people were asking that, let's say they granted you a visa, student visa, how sooner can you enter the UK? So if your course does not start in few months, can you still enter the UK? Let's answer this. Right, it depends on two things. If your course is 6 months or less, then the earliest you can travel to UK is 1 week before the course start date. So you can earliest travel to UK is 1 week before your course even actually starts. But if your course is more than 6 months, then you can travel up to 1 month before your course start date. So hopefully that will clarify that. Right, let's come to the main point. How much fee you need to pay in order to apply for a visa application, student visa application. Now, it really depends. If you're applying from outside the UK, then the fee is generally a bit low. So you need to pay, as of now on their website, it's mentioned it's £363 for the sole applicant itself, so for one person. And if you're applying from inside the UK, then it's £490. So if whether you're applying for a student visa as a new application, or you're switching visa categories and stuff, that would be £490 from inside the UK, and outside that would be £363. I'll put the link down in the description below, so don't forget to check out and comment as well. So, along with your main visa application itself, you need to consider that you have to pay the IHS surcharge as well. Now, what is that? It's normally, in simple words, it's kind of like when you come over here and you use NHS services, GP services, is kind of dedicated towards that particular cost. Now, if you're under 18 years of age, then you have to pay £470 per year, up to the number of years that you're applying for. So if your course is for 2 years, you can multiply that by 2. But if you're over 18 years of age, then you have to pay IHS surcharge of £624 per year. So let's say if you're applying for a PhD degree that might last for 5 years, then you can multiply that 624 per year by 5, which would be something around 3,120. That is what you need to pay along with your additional visa fee as well. So just keep that in mind. There has been a question asked by the subscribers as if you're coming with a dependent, आप अपने spouse के साथ आ रहे हैं, तो do you need to still pay for the IHS surcharge as well? Yes, that is correct. So dependent on how long visa they are applying for as well, so they will have to pay for the same amount. So it would be £624 per year for them, depending on how long they will be applying for, but it kind of ties up with yourself. So if you're applying at the same time, it depends on how long your course is, so they will be generally applying for the same thing. So you need to keep into account that you are applying for both parties, so you have to pay £624 for yourself as well as your dependent, and for the number of years for your dependent on how long your course is. So I hope that makes sense. When do you need to pay for the IHS surcharge? Normally it would be at the end of the your visa application itself, or just before that, but you will be given the link when you apply online. But once you have made the payment, there would be an IHS reference number that would be given to you. You will have to use that as a part of your application, which will automatically be tied up, and it would be a proof that you have already paid for your IHS surcharge, and your application wouldn't be refused because of that. Right, so along with your visa fee itself, as well as the IHS surcharge, you will also need to keep into account that you need to show through a bank statement, let's say, that you have got the remainder fee, which would be basically mentioned on your CAS letter. Now, what is a CAS letter? CAS letter is a confirmation of acceptance letter given by your institute, your university itself, that you have been given an offer, and on the basis of the amount mentioned on your CAS letter, you need to show that particular amount, for which shows how much fee you need to have showing up on your bank statement. Along with that, there would be the living expenses that you need to show as well. Now, those living expenses depends if you're applying for institute or you're living inside London or outside London. If you're living or applying for a course that is studied inside London, then you have to show that you can support yourself financially for up to 9 months period. So the per month that they normally say is that you need to show that you have £1,334 for up to 9 months. So you can multiply that 1,334 into 9. That is your financial cost, plus you need to show that whatever amount that is mentioned on your CAS letter for your course fee itself. So you need to have the bank statement for at least 28 days that you need to show. The more the better, but yeah, just keep in mind that wherever you're applying for, the pound rate can go up and down, but they will normally compare it with the GBP price at the time of the visa application, or at that particular time when your caseworker might be reviewing your application. So whatever amount it comes up to, I normally tend to stay there, add a bit more to that. So even if it goes higher, the rate, then it doesn't affect your amount that you have saved in your bank statement, so it doesn't fall down under that particular However, if you're applying for a course that would be studied outside London, then you need to show £1,023 financial that you can support yourself per month for up to 9 months. So you have to multiply that amount 1,023 into 9, which would be cover your financial requirements for up to 9 months period, and that is the maximum that you need to show, along with your course fee that is mentioned on your CAS letter. So that should be the total amount that you need to show on your bank statement. Slightly more would always be better. Yeah, so good luck with that. So right, these would be the main things that you have to consider before applying for student general visa. Now let's recap on what are the main documents you need. So you need your passport itself, definitely, to apply for a visa itself. You need the CAS letter, confirmation acceptance letter from your institute, the university, college you might be studying with, so a letter from them. You need your bank statement, which will, as a recap, it should contain the CAS letter amount, the course fee that you have to pay. Apart from that, you should also include within the bank statements your financial circumstances, that how will you be able to afford yourself living in the UK, so for up to 9 months period, and any dependents that will come in. Obviously IHS surcharge would be paid earlier. Apart from that, yes, English level is the another thing. So if you're coming over here, you might have to sit for an IELTS or a SEAL test and stuff. So that would depend on university to university what their requirements is, to check out with your institute what they actually require. So you have to sit for that. For certain courses, postgraduate degrees, you might need an ATAS certificate as well. So what is that? That is basically required if you're studying in certain particular sensitive subject areas, so like physics, mathematics, or any material that might be used in, you know, scientific research, bombing, those kind of stuff, which might be used towards that. So just to give an example, I had to apply for ATAS certificate for my wife because her program, she was doing a PhD degree, had to do a PhD degree in mechanical engineering, but it was more of her subject was related to fluid dynamics, which is some area nearby physics and mathematics, those kind of stuff. So it was a sensitive subject. So she's done with a degree, but yeah, I had to apply for that. It roughly took about 28 days, 4 weeks, 5 weeks for that ATAS certificate to come through. So keep in mind that you need the ATAS certificate before you apply for the visa as well. So you should have your bank statement ready, which should be for a minimal 28 days. You should have your ATAS certificate as well. The processing time could be minimum 1 month, and the earliest you can apply from outside is 6 months before. So I hope that video would be helpful, but if I did miss anything, I will surely put down the link in the description, so you can check out the details from the main official gov.uk website, so you can refer to that as well. And if you need anything, any further questions you might have in terms of living expenses and other things, accommodation, I will make a separate video on that as a subscriber did request for it. So if you did like this video, go like करें, subscribe करें, share करें, and once again, don't forget to subscribe this channel, and अपना बहुत ख्याल रखें. Thank you very much, and see you next time in the next vlog. Take care then. Bye.